But before that, the striking view of 70,000 shrouded figurines will go on display to the public in Exeter's Northern Hay Gardens tomorrow.
The Shrouds of the Somme exhibition represents all of those killed and buried in unknown graves during Britain's bloodiest battle. Well, Richard Lawrence is in Exeter for us this evening. Richard, this is actually the return of the Shrouds following the original exhibition 2 years ago.
Yes, this is where the Shrouds made their original debut, and since then the artist Rob Hurd has more than doubled the number of models he's individually made to around 70,000. He's still working towards his final target figure, but these figures represent the amount of people that were lost in the Battle of the Somme, that were buried out there without a grave. This exhibit, though, is now known as the Trench, to ensure that all these figures fit into this Northern Hay Gardens. But the exhibit itself is pretty much split in two halves. A simple but staggering sight will flank your arrival. Lines of calico-clad figures show the bloody history of World War I. Together they represent the 1,566 days of the First World War. On each sign, the number of people killed that day. And there's one figure that stands out above all others. The 19,240 who died on the first day of the Battle of the Somme. The figure that was the inspiration for the original exhibit here 2 years ago. Today, though, they were being laid out with military precision by soldiers currently attached to Exeter's Wyvern Barracks.
You think some of the numbers you're looking at throughout that whole Afghan campaign, you're losing those sort of numbers in a day. You know, it brings it home, the real cost, you know. And yeah, it just reminds you the importance of the job we do as well.
I mean, you don't realise how many people were actually lost over the whole period, really. And yeah, it's a bit breathtaking, really.
Let's hope the Trench will have a greater impact. Making each figure individually has become the calling of Somerset artist Rob Hurd over the past 4.5 years.
For years and years, I've only ever dealt with one, and so to see them like this I'm along with everybody else. You know, it's quite incredible.
And as anonymous as they look, they all relate to a name that's on the outside walls.
That's absolutely key, that the association with the name, you know, they're not just randomly made, they are made to an individual man. It's another example of just the enormity of the meat grinder that was some of these huge battles in the First World War. It's like nothing else, you know, and I think just this level of loss is just staggering. Just to bring these figures back, you know, it's so good, because 12,000 of the number that were laid out in Northern Hay 2 years ago actually feature within the 72,000, in that they were killed and their bodies were never recovered, and they are being turned by the plough to this day.
You could say, stacked up like this, they lack the dignity of the original exhibit when they were laid out 2 years ago, but they also reflect the dreadful intensity of the battlefield where they were lost. Richard Lawrence, ITV News, Exeter.